Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War. Yes, indeed, we're here playing Napoleon Total War, and I'm actually viewing a replay, as it is, and that is a game that me and my friend played, or well, a match that me and my friend played, against some AI British ships. As you can see, the British here, they've been left on their standard layout, which is a 106, 122, a 98, an 90 gun, and a 74 gun. Or at least they may have been switched around a little bit so they had less ships with them. But, oh, excuse me, I don't know what it was. But anyway, yeah. So, I am playing here as Austria. Because why not? And my friend here is playing as Spain. He's got the Santissima Trinidad, which is a 140 gun ship of the line. He also has got a 122 ship of the line. So two of them. He's also got an 80 gun steamship, an ironclad. No, he has two ironclads actually, an 80 gun ship of the line, and a brig. So yeah, he just had a little bit of cash left on him, so he just got himself a brig. But this is his main force: 140 gun ship, two 122s, two ironclads, and one 80 gun. And my fleet is comprised of two max veterancy ironclads, and another three 80 gun steamships. One of which is maximum veterancy, one of which is one of which is 40 vet. One of them is 4 vet, one of them is 4 vet, and the other one 3 vet. So this is technically my worst ship. And of course they've all got names, but I don't know how to pronounce these names. Well, I know Medusa, Gepard, and Grudens. I don't know. But as you can see, the British appear to be forming up into one solid battle line. The Rose is going in, the Dragon, the Aurora, the Jamaica, the Magnificence, and the Unicorn heading up one British fleet. Then you've got the Bellerophon, I don't know, the Hector, the Exeter, the Fox, the Vengeance, and the Resistance for the British fleet. And then, of course, my friend has got his Santissima Trinidad, the San Lorenz, what else? The Nuestra Senora, no, sorry. I'm not doing my French very well, Spanish very well. Nuestra Senora de la Almuenda. I don't know this. And then you've got the Delfin Dorado, and then you've got the Ave de Gracia, and then you've got the Santa Isabel, and then you've got the one little Peleo, which is a brig. Now, I won't give anything away because, well, what would you say is the outcome of this battle? Apparently it's looking pretty even. The British have definitely got the ship advantage over me in terms of both ship and firepower, but my friend has got a lot of cannons on his ship, so anything could really happen. So I will warn you, this is a long battle, by the way. This is like 45 minutes of battle. I may or may not speed it up, but as you can see, the British are now turning themselves side on as I steam my ship straight forwards. I was just going for a sort of head around them, so that my friend can attack them from the front, but the problem is the wind is coming sideways on, which is not really good for my friend, nor is it really good for me, because, well, actually, it's alright for me, because I went with a purely steam build. As you can see, the two ironclads are partly steam-powered, and the steamships are obviously steam-powered as well. But we're now just sort of waiting on the first contact to be made between our ships. So, of course, my admiral is on one of the ironclads because, well, obviously, your first ship in the fleet is the admiral because it's going to be the first ship that you have in your fleet. But I'm now sort of steaming sideways because I'm planning on doing a sort of circle strategy, which doesn't work. I was not being a master tactician this day. And so I'm sailing on. They've got a 74 gun, a 98 gun heading for me. You've got the Resistance 98 gun heading for me. You've also got the Aurora 98 gun turning round. And of course, I'm now starting to show my stern to these English ships. However, in goes the Grodens into the Fox. Takes out 2 cannons, kills off 7 men, using standard round shot. In goes the Gepard, shooting at the Aurora, doing very little damage. In goes the Medusa, also into the Aurora, takes out 3 guns as the nose cannons of the Aurora do open up. The nose cannons of the Dragon is now shooting at the Falchion. My friend is now opening up with his Santissima Trinidad. Several shots go into the Rose, taking out a couple of crew and some cannons. The Dragon has lost a single of its guns and like 1 of its men. My ironclads are now under fire, but are shooting up the Fox. In goes some side cannons as they reload into the Exeter. Not doing much to the Exeter, however. The Exeter is still holding firm, it looks like that, although it's lost a couple of guns. Unfortunately, in goes a big shot from the Aurora straight into the Gepard, taking out a lot of its cannons. As you can see, that's now on 66 cannons, so it's not doing very well. The Grandes is also taking a side-on shot, losing the first of its cannons. The Falchion is not doing very well, neither is the Medusa. Well, the Medusa's actually doing alright. It still has all 80 of its guns, and it's only lost 2 crew members from all that, but it's taking some hull damage. In goes the Ezimov. My friend is trying to steam forwards, well, at least sail forwards, but unfortunately 122 gun ships do not travel that quickly, no matter how much wind you give them. So here comes the Rose, the 106 gun first-rate ship of the Admiral, as in goes a nice broadside staggered cannon shot from the Medusa into the Rose. The Rose has lost a couple of its guns. The Ezimov is doing alright. The Ironclads, however, not so much. The Grandoise is not doing well. However, the Vengeance has got a red flag nearby, which means that after a couple more hits it will hopefully surrender. Unfortunately, the Medusa has suffered some hull damage, as you can see, or at least maybe some morale damage. Oh no, that is hull damage. And if we look over this side, yeah, that's some fairly large hull damage to the Medusa. And the Medusa is indeed about to surrender because it's now got a red flag nearby to it. The Unicorn has suffered some damage to it, but not all that much. Unfortunately, the Gepard is taking a battering. It's concerned and on fire. It's wavering with 53 cannons left on it. The Grandoise is also not doing very well. 66 guns out of 80, just under 200 crew. I'm starting to repair the Gepard, but, well, the Gepard's now running away. The other ironclad is not on very good morale or hull strength. The Gepard is trying to run, but it's now surrendered, as you can see there. Trying to turn away the Falchion, but well, yeah, it's not going well for me. The Vengeance has taken a lot of damage, however, but it still isn't starting to run. The Medusa is running, and indeed it has now surrendered. My friend is now going in with the Senora de la Almoenda, his own ironclad, and is aiming up on the Unicorn, which is on a red flag. So I have successfully managed to damage these ships. The Falchion is taking lots of fire from the English fleet. As you can see, my other ironclad has now actually surrendered that had my Admiral on it. It's on fire, as is the Gepard. So yeah, they're not going to last for much longer because they're on fire. And since I can't actually do anything because they're surrendered and I no longer have control on them, I can't tell them to repair and put out that fire. The Falchion is now retreating. It's red, and because it's flashing, that shows that it is running, as is my final ship, Ezimov. I am now without controllable ships. 3 of my ships have surrendered, as you can see. The Medusa has surrendered just inside of my friend's Spanish fleet. The Ezimov is running, as is the Falchion. So, yeah, we're not doing well here. The Falchion is only on 42 guns out of 80, and the Ezimov is only on 64 out of 80. Both of them are running. The English are trying to attack them. You've got the Dragon, the Aurora, the Rose, the Magnificence, just everything. And we did not manage to make a single of their ships surrender. However, we did do considerable damage to them. As you can see, I reckon we must have taken out about maybe 200 or so cannons on this English fleet. So we did manage to put up a fight, even if we did not manage to kill off all of their ships. Now, my ships are now steaming away. As you can see, they are no longer under my control, which means I am now a passive spectator until I regain control of these ships. As you can see, the Falchion is now back under my control. I'm continuing to steam him away, however, so that I can repair it, and the Ezimov is now going to be under my control as well. My friend is obviously doing the more strategic way, which is to skirt around their fleet rather than head straight into it. However, as I'm steaming away the Falchion, it starts running away again. However, the Ezimov on 61 guns is doing alright. It suffered some hull damage, but I now have control of it. I'm starting to steam it away so that I can go ahead and repair it, and that thing should come under my control as well. And my friend is now engaging all of these English ships. The Unicorn is only on 36 guns with not great morale or hull strength, really. My friend is turning around to Santissima Trinidad. The San Lazaro, San Lazaro, yes, the 122 ship of the line is shooting at the Hector, their own 122 gun ship of the line, and the Delfin Dorado is coming in to assist, possibly. Yeah, my friend's turning him, there we go. And he's going to unleash a nice broadside into the Hector, I would imagine. Yeah, there we go. Also, some of the splash also hits the Magnificence, but, well, not much happened to the Magnificence. The Santissima Trinidad has lost 3 of its cannons, but it's still got 37 cannons left. The Unicorn is starting to shoot at the Santissima Trinidad, but, well, look at that broadside. Look at that power. Just straight into the Unicorn. The Unicorn surrendered. It's had enough. So the Unicorn has now surrendered. My 2 ships over here I'm now repairing because, well, the English are now engaging the Spanish fleet. In goes a nice broadside from the Hector into the Santissima Trinidad, which is my friend's admiral. Meanwhile, over here, the Spanish ships are doing alright. The Santa Isabel, the Ironclad, is heading in, as is the Ave de Gracia, or Gracia. In goes a nice broadside from the San Lorenzo into the Fox. So, yeah, taking down the Fox. The Delfin Dorado is also turning itself now, as the Ave de Gracia is aiming in for a, I've forgotten the name for it. Because you got the stern, and then you've got, I can't remember. I've completely forgotten what. I'm just going to call it the nose, because that's sort of what it is. But in goes a twin broadside, one into the Santissima Trinidad, which has suffered some hull damage. As you can see, it is not looking so fine now, is it? Look at that side. This side is not doing great. There's gaping holes in the side of the Santissima Trinidad there. However, it looks like the Rose possibly going to surrender with this next broadside from the Santissima Trinidad. My friend does like to aim his own broadsides and not let the AI control it. I'm not too sure why, but I'm guessing it's so he has more control so that he can hit the more damaged ships. In goes the Santa Isabel. The Ironclad steaming straight in and almost ramming the Magnificence. In goes a broadside into the Rose. The Rose is now trying to retreat. Over here, the Spanish ships are doing alright. The Delfin Dorado is well, trying to engage the Fox, which is still about, plus the San Lorenzo. My ships are still keeping out of it because, well, I have about 100 guns combined. So, yeah, not that great. The Nuestra Senora, the... Oh god, it's that really long name again. This Ironclad, basically, is not doing much. Just got to call it this Ironclad. The San Lorenzo is, well, reloading its cannons, suffered some hull damage. The Santissima Trinidad is, well, 2 ships are trying to run, apparently, the Rose and the Magnificence. I am now steaming back the Asimov to try and assist, which is my 61 gun steamship, so it's still got a fair amount of guns left on it. The Ave de Gracia, maybe if it can get some stern shots into the Magnificence, it will stop it running in its tracks. Indeed, there it goes. Bang. Suffered some more hull damage, going to keep them on their toes. The Rose is still trying to run. The Santissima Trinidad is now repairing. In goes my guns on the Asimov. or the Isamove, I don't know. Over here you got the Santa Isabel. Yeah, the Santa Isabel, the ironclad, going in, still with 66 guns out of 80. The Rose is no longer retreating, however the Ave de Gracia is blocking its shots to the stern of the Santissima Trinidad. Meanwhile, over here, the British have really got into the Spanish here. The San Lorenzo has just suffered a big broadside from the Bellerophon, 106 gun into its stern. It's now running. The hull of the Delfin Dorado is not doing that great either. This ironclad is still not doing much either. So that's really the first Spanish casualty, which is that one running away. Over here, the Santa Isabel is steaming around the Santissima Trinidad, who's finished repairs. The Rose is again running. The Fox is also attempting to run. I'm still steaming my ship forwards. The Ave de Gracia is on an orange flag, so it's not doing that great. The San Lorenzo is still trying to run. British have got a couple of ships who are running, or at least on low morale. The Nuestra Senora de la Almuenda, there you go, I actually said it this time, is still sitting out of it. The Delfin Dorado is going steady. It's concerned with casualties. The San Lorenzo has now actually surrendered. That's the first Spanish casualty. The Unicorn has finally surrendered. The Rose is also looking like it's about to surrender. Indeed, there it goes. It's attempting to run. The Santa Isabel is steaming away now with some hull damage. I'm now moving in my second ship, the Falcon, to try and assist the Spanish. As you can see, the Ave de Gracia is losing. It's definitely not looking so hot. There you go. The Rose has finally surrendered. This ship, the Vengeance, is also attempting to run. The Ironclad is still just sitting here pouring shots into the English. Excuse me. So, over here, the Delfin Dorado is actually finally running away, having suffered enough hull damage and morale to run. The Jamaica, the Jamaica, has just suffered about 3 broadsides into her. The Santissima Trinidad, gone down to less than 100 guns, 94 out of 140. In goes a nice broadside from the Isamove as it pours another broadside into the Jamaica. The Jamaica is now on a red flag. Unfortunately, the Nuestra Senora de la Almuenda has actually surrendered, so at least I don't have to say its name anymore. Over here, I'm still sending in my ships. They're held together more with plywood boards than actual hull. This side has had all the plywood boarding taken off. However, this is a good example of the ship. That's more like something you would find at a builder's yard than an actual ship, because, well, that's a lot of... It's more plywood than ship at that point. The Isamove has unfortunately gone back down to an orange hull strength bar, so I'm going to have to run it away soon. Over here, the Vengeance is actually running as well. The Ave de Gracia has surrendered now. The Santissima Trinidad is still sitting around here. The Santa Isabel has suffered some hull damage, but still going strong. The Vengeance is still, sitting around there. I'm moving in the Isamove to try and hopefully ninja kill that guy or that guy. Hopefully my cannons can finish him off. The Falcon is not doing so hot, really. 40 out of 80 cannons left on it. Jamaica not doing that well either. As you can see, the British are actually boarding this. Is actually boarding the Delfin Dorado. They've got the manpower. Well, actually, they don't really have the manpower advantage. However, they certainly do have the morale bonus over them. Over here, the Isamove is unfortunately suffering some hull damage and some morale, so I'm now running it away. The Jamaica, I've managed to make surrender. Well, a combined effort. Over here, my friend aiming up on the Vengeance with the Santissima Trinidad. Magnificence over here just sort of surrendered. And there is the San Lorenzo just sitting there surrendered as well. Over here, some supporting fire from the Hector going in on that ship that's getting boarded. The Eisenmove is still running. My one other ship is now routing because of problems. Getting some stern shots into me, unfortunately. They're the Exeter, and there you go. Finally, the boarding has finished on this Spanish ship, and the Delfin Dorado has surrendered. The British were successful in their boarding party, however they have suffered a lot of damage. There goes the first ammunition explosion of the game. The, what was that? I think that was the Santa Isabel, has just exploded, so there we go. Nice explosion there. The Eisenmove is now running past the now surrendered Vengeance, so we did manage to get the Vengeance to surrender. The Resistance is chasing after the Santissima Trinidad on 93 guns out of 140. The Exeter still putting fire in, but no, it's now surrendered due to possibly small arms fire. But I now have control of my two ships again, the Falchion and the Eisenmove, so I am now going to steam these guys away and repair them over here. One routing ship. Oh, it's the Medusa. The Medusa, which has routed, surrendered, and is not in combat, is now running away. And so the total results of this battle, as the Santissima Trinidad tries to polish off the Resistance. The total casualties sustained on either side. At this point in the battle, as you can see, the counter has moved towards a British victory with the Royal Navy as some shots go into the Santissima Trinidad, taking it down to 90 guns. Resistance, however, not looking so hot. Single cannon fire exchanging there. But overall, these are the scores as it stands. I am left with 2 ships. My friend is left with another 2 ships. One of them is the Santissima Trinidad, the other is a brig. And the Royal Navy is left with what looks like 6 ships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 5 ships it looks like they're left with. As there you go, as the battle, well, as the little skirmish that happened there, well, rather large skirmish happened there, that's all gone well. And one of the enemy admirals has been killed. So that is a success. Probably the one on the Rose. Where is the Rose? I think the Rose may actually have sunk, which is why they lost their admiral, probably because he drowned. But the Santissima Trinidad is now getting rushed. I need to pull back my ships and repair them before I can go help, so I'm not going to be able to help. However, the Aurora is attempting to run. It is routing. 49 out of 50, 49 out of 98 guns. Santissima Trinidad has suffered casualties down to 85 guns. It has got a 46 gun resistance on its side as it puts another load of fire into it. Plus it's got the 102 gun Bellerophon. Plus you've got the Hector firing at it, which has still got 57 guns. Santissima Trinidad down to 77 guns. The Aurora is not quite yet routed. However, the Resistance has been taken down. The Resistance has now surrendered. The stern cannons going in the Santissima Trinidad. This is going to be the death of the Santissima Trinidad. It looks like you've got the Dragon still with 96 guns left on it. Santissima Trinidad on 75 out of 140. Front chase cannons going into the stern of the Santissima Trinidad as it puts some fire into the Aurora just as the Aurora finishes routing. Puts one shot into it and then promptly surrenders. So every little helps. Apparently the Aurora has now surrendered. In goes some shots from the Santissima Trinidad into the Hector, taking it down to 55 guns and to an orange flag. Suffered some morale and some hull damage there. However, the Santissima Trinidad is looking very much worse for wear. Oh dear, that's not good. The Nuestra Senora de la Almoenda, the Ironclad, hopefully that's the last time I'm going to have to say that name, is pretty much at Davy Jones' locker. And it looks like over here the Santissima Trinidad is going to go down. Trying to pour shots into the Hector, trying to get it down. Chase cannons going in from the Bellerophon. As Santissima Trinidad makes its slow way forwards, firing some shots into the Hector, making it start to run away. It's routing. In go more chase cannon shots. Wavering concerned casualties on fire. down to a red flag. It's not going to be in battle much longer. It may be able to get off a single more broadside into the dragon. Indeed, there it goes. Final broadside into the dragon, and it's now routing. It's now routing. So, final results of the first stage of the battle is a English victory currently, although we've managed to drag it up to 50-50. In goes a broadside into the Santissima Trinidad, promptly killing off the Admiral and making the ship promptly surrender due to the morale loss from that. So, current score. The Spanish have got a single brig. I have got 2 steamships, which, as you can see over here, are not doing that great. As you can see, this one has actually started sinking. Because as I had my 2 ships here, I noticed that this one started sinking. I started repairing it, and, well, as it happened, it's finished sinking. However, it's now got a horrible list on its side, so I currently have got 2 highly damaged ships that are held together more with plywood than actual hull. One of them has got 39 cannons and 149 men. Another has got 54 cannons out of 80 and 169 men. I have got just about 100 cannons between me. The English, meanwhile, their current ship status is 1 106 gun ship, 1 122 gun ship, and another 122 gun ship. However, for all intents and purposes, this is a 46 gun ship, this is a 94 gun ship, and this is a 98 gun ship. However, these 2 are the main contenders left for the British. And, well, my friend with no ships left is forced to take his brig into battle with a 122 gun ship. And, well, you'll see how well that turns out later on. You will be surprised, I guarantee. So, as I'm moving these 2 ships in to try and get a double broadside into the Bellerophon, they decide to go like this, blocking this one's line of sight, or line of fire, to the Hector, or indeed the Bellerophon, as in go some chase cannons. However, a nice twin broadside does occur into the Bellerophon, which, well, is nice. It takes down a single cannon, it looks like, and kills off a couple of men. However, well, the dragon's coming in, 94 guns. And at this point I was not feeling confident, because look at this. It's halfway into the water as in goes big shots straight into the front of it, taking it down to 53 guns, and that's basically a submarine at this point. Meanwhile, over here, my friend is aiming up his broadside from his brig into the dragon. The dragon fires and takes down 2 cannons and 3 men. They're steady but concerned on the brig, as I would be as well. I'm now parting my 2 ships to try and get a twin attack like that in onto the Bellerophon. In go the chase cannons, in goes a nice broadside into the Bellerophon. And as it happens, the most cannons are actually on the side that's halfway in the water, on the isomorph. However, in goes a twin broadside into them, causing them to instantly go down to a red flag. So that's not good. The Falchion is unleashing a broadside into the Bellerophon, which basically does nothing. A couple of guns go into the dragon, which actually does a lot of damage, which I was surprised at. It's now down to 78 guns out of, what, 94 or something? And it's taken this one back up to a green flag. It's now, however, on 49 out of 80. In go some cannon shots from the brig, which is actually doing work. Meanwhile, the Falchion is dueling it with the Bellerophon. However, the Bellerophon does, however, have the manpower and the cannon advantage. You can go some chase cannons onto it. I'm now trying to steam the isomorph away. The Hector is now retreating, which is fine by me. Some rear stern shots going in onto the isomorph has made it turn back to red, and indeed it is now routing. Routing with me is fine at this point, so long as I regain control over them. The Falchion has lost all of its plywood boarding and is now down to, yeah, how it is. However, the Bellerophon is on fire, and apparently the combatant is losing somehow. But the Falchion unleashes a nice broadside into the Hector, does some more damage. However, the Hector comes off of routing just in time, and in the perfect place to unleash an instant broadside. So yeah, that's great. The Isomorph is still retreating. The Felgen, I'm now starting to run away. I know I'm... Well, actually, I was running away. However, it then promptly decided to rout. So I no longer have control over the ship, and finally it surrenders with 30 guns and 129 men left on board of the ship. Meanwhile, over here, this thing has stopped routing, however I'm now repairing it, so yeah, it's great. In goes a chase cannon, which does miss the brig. The brig has taken that single broadside, and that is it. The Hector is still running away. As you can see, the red bar has gone right down because I've lost one of my 80-gun steamships, so the red bar has gone way up. We are no longer in a good chance of winning according to, statistically, what the game says. But the Dragon is suffering fire from the brig, as the brig stays out of range of the broadside, and indeed is just literally dancing circles around it. Over here, I'm still repairing the plywood boarding around the ship. As you can see, I do still have a fair amount of cannons left on my ship, 47 out of 80. Granted, not much, but it's currently the biggest, the most amount of guns we have, which is not good. But there we go, some more plywood boarding goes in. On this side, it's also not looking that great. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. At least we still got the anchor. But, yeah. This side actually had a lot of cannons left. It had something like 32 cannon broadside. I was amazed by that, because this side only had something like a 21 cannon broadside, but no, probably less than that. But this one still had a fair amount of broadside left on it. But in goes another shot from the Dragon, ripping through the brig, turning it into a red, now into an orange flag, leaving it with 20 guns out of 26, and 71 out of 80 crew. More shots going into the Dragon. The Dragon is basically treating this as something like a gnat, because that's basically what it is. The Hector has finished running away again, left on 40 out of 40 out of 122 guns. At this point, it's really not happy. It's shaken. It's got very little hull strength left. Some more cannons going into the brig. Combatant is losing slightly. Shaken, concerned, hull damage. In goes some shots from me into the Dragon, ripping up some of its sail there. So that front sail is basically useless now. It's on 74 out of 122 guns, and it's currently turning to shoot at me as I try and turn it to this side, because it's at this point, I think, that I realise, hang on, the side that's listing in the water has got the most cannons. So I'm currently turning it to face the listing side towards the English. But yeah, my friend is now aiming up his brig, which has actually got a decent range for its cannons. In it goes. Some shots into the Bellerophon. I'm now unleashing a broadside into the Dragon. It does very little. So yeah, that's fantastic. And, well, in goes a shot. Possibly hit, not too sure. But there we go. Nice gun. Nice shot in from the brig, taking out one cannon. In I go, shooting at it, taking down another cannon, another 2 cannons, another 3 cannons, and killing off some men. In goes a shot from the brig, taking down another 2 cannons and killing some men. As I continue to make my slow way forwards. So at this point, it's really the reserves. We're sort of asking the reserves in the crew, sort of like, come on. Go on, man. We can win this. In goes some more shots into the Dragon at the nose. As I'm shooting up the Bellerophon here. Indeed, in goes some more cannons onto it. Taking it down to still left on 47 guns, but possibly killing some crew. The Hector, meanwhile, is still shaken. It's not currently in combat, but, well, yeah. It's not doing so well. Over here, my friend in the brig is, well, still putting in shots to the Dragon. The Dragon goes, I've had enough of your crap, and fires off a broadside. which promptly just rips through the sails because it's such a small target, so it just sort of ripped over the sails. Taking it down to 19 cannons, though. I put in another single shot into the Bellerophon, which does nothing. Again, other than kill off one man, I think. In goes some shots into the dragon from the brig as it dances around. Meanwhile, I'm still sailing my plywood-boarded ship, which has yet to be shot at, which I'm very happy about. And I'm now trying to use the maze of dead ships to my advantage. As you can see, the crews of the ships actually sort of look at the surrounding battle. The resistance is, well, not putting up any resistance to me, which is fine, because the Royal Marines are all lined up on deck there. I'm putting shots still into the Bellerophon, and I'm now trying to use the maze of ships to my advantage. Those things have had their fire put out. But yeah, so I'm sort of just trying to make it like a city combat but for ships. Meanwhile, the dragon is actually gone to an orange flag from the brig. So neither of us saw that, so we're very surprised at how long this brig has lasted. It's actually managed to take down a fair amount of cannons along with my help on this on the dragon. So I mean, it's amazing how a brig can actually stand up to a 1-2-2. The Hector has gone back to a steady status. As to how long that'll last, I'm not too sure. I accidentally hit the Exeter because it sort of got in the way of the Bellerophon. But there we go, I'm now putting more shots into it, down to 65 guns. I'm trying to angle the nose towards the Bellerophon in case it tries to unleash another broadside as I'm reloading my cannons. As you can see, God, this poor ship. Once this thing gets back to port, it's going to be like a national monument. It's going to be sort of left in its state and just used as a monument to the glorious Austrian Empire. But there we go, taking down the Bellerophon to 57 guns, which is more of a match to my ship. We're now sort of almost equal, but then again, the Hector is coming in as assistance. The dragon, meanwhile, just sort of doesn't even care about the brig anymore. It's just sort of sitting about. Meanwhile, yeah, they're starting to shoot at the Eisenwolf. The Bellerophon is continuing to pour fire in. However, this is now good because I can now duel this out with the Bellerophon, and I do believe I have got the broadside advantage in terms of cannons on this side compared to the Bellerophon. So I can now shoot at this thing with impunity, and the Hector can't do anything about it because the Bellerophon is blocking its line of fire. Meanwhile, the brig is still putting fire into the stern of the dragon, or at least attempting to. However, that broadside missed. But there we go. The Bellerophon is now actually on red status. It's now wavering to the attack of the Eisenwolf. The Eisenwolf is unfortunately shaken down to 46 cannons, but still the most cannons are on this side. I mean, just look at this sight. What is this sight? I have no idea. Yes, sorry if you caught any of that, but so I'm now dueling it out with the Bellerophon, which is now actually routed. Bellerophon has actually routed. Meanwhile, the dragon is now actually sailing away from the brig. It doesn't even care anymore. It's seen me as more of a threat because I'm actually about to destroy their admiral, or at least make it surrender. So, as I put in another broadside, take down its hull strength to almost nothing, I'm now suddenly thinking, hang on a minute, what if that ship explodes and I'm right next to it? We'd lose our only combat advantage. So, as the Hector puts a couple of shots into my stern, because I'm now trying to part ways from the Bellerophon, however, as it happens, it doesn't matter, because it surrendered. And it's actually sinking, as you can see. It's now listing to the side and actually sinking. So I've actually managed to defeat the Bellerophon, which I was amazed by. And now, it's just the Hector. And the Hector is now shaken because their admiral has just been killed. And I'm taking fire. Yeah, alright. But I'm now repairing, just so that I can take on the Hector. The Hector is now actually running away. So I don't even have to care that I'm repairing in the middle of the battle, because the Hector is running away. So I can repair and by the time I've finished repair, I can shoot the Hector again. But as you can see, the Bellerophon is now running, is now sinking. As you can see, all of the men are now stuck in the water as they all start jumping from the ship. In fact, their sniper is actually dead up there, their Royal Marine sniper up in the crow's nest. But meanwhile, over here, the Dragon is, well, yeah, getting annoyed by the brig, which is actually taking it down to 65 guns. And it's now aiming up a shot on the brig. And, well, yeah, about that. The brig is continuing to shoot at the Dragon, as the Dragon is starting to come in range of the brig. In fact, the Hector has actually finished running away. I'm now actually starting to. I've now actually finished repair, but I will finish off the Hector, no problem at all. In fact, in goes a broadside. The Hector is now running away again, and in fact, after one more broadside, it will in fact surrender. But in goes the brig. Another shot into the Dragon, taking it down to 62 guns. The Hector is continuing to run away, which is all it's done for the second half of this battle. And the Dragon's taken enough of the brig's crap, and it's now starting to chase after the brig. And down goes the Hector. I've now killed off the Hector. I now have 46 guns and 148 men. So I came off not too bad. I took down 2 ships, and all was good. In go some chase cannons into the brig. Brig shooting at the Dragon. The Dragon has now decided, I've had enough of your crap, brig. It's now turning broadside, and well, I'll put it into slow motion as we await the broadside. If I knew how to hide the controls, then I would, but in goes the broadside, and well, maybe it isn't that broadside. You'll see what I mean, because there will be a broadside, and you will recognise it when you see it. But in goes some more shots from the brig into the Dragon, taking it down to 60 guns and killing off some more people. So I mean, the brig is probably as useful as one of my 80-gun steamships at this point. Because it's actually managed to do some work, but well, yeah, in goes another broadside into the brig, taking it down 1 man. In goes some more shots into the Dragon, doing a little bit more damage, killing off perhaps a couple more men. As you see, that's just the side of this Royal Navy ship is not doing very well. I am actually racing back with my ship as my friend is reloading his cannons. However, he is shaken with concerned hull damage, that brig. Well, yeah. Dragon is now sailing away. Let's see if we can speed this up slightly. Because sailing is not all that interesting. And let's fast forward. Oh god, no, that's not good. But oh well, we have to speed it up somehow. My friend aims up another shot. In goes another broadside, which misses. As I'm now chasing after it because it is sort of starting to run away there. So I'm now chasing it, full sail, plus steam power is going to catch a damaged 122 heavy first-rate ship of England. So, but with me taking down those 2 ships and killing their admiral has taken our blue bar past the midway point. So we now actually have a good chance of winning according to the game. And so, well, the Dragon is continuing to make an orderly retreat from the onslaught of the brig. But it's decided it's had enough of the brig's crap as the brig fires off another broadside. It's decided it's had enough of the brig's crap, and it's decided to, yeah, do that. So, about that. So, yeah, there goes the heroic brig of the Spanish fleet, leaving no survivors. Which leaves me against the Dragon. 46 versus 59 guns. And yeah. The Dragon decided it's had enough of your crap, Spain, and just detonated the ammunition. One hit KO'd it. So I'm now trying to duel with this thing. And I have a listing 80 gun steamship. Just look at this thing. I was just praying this thing would actually hold together whilst I was sailing it around for the second half of this match. Because look at it. Look at it. What is this thing? I was just praying it didn't sink anymore, because if it sunk, we'd have lost. But I'm now sailing forwards, maximum sail, the wind in my sails, the steam in the boiler, the damaged sails. And I'm sort of hoping for a miracle. However, the Dragon is steady, concerned, hull damage. Mine are steady and concerned about casualties. So the hull damage is not an issue for my ship, but it is for theirs. So I'm hoping that if I can take down its hull strength, it'll surrender. And in fact, it's now actually managed to get to Veterancy 1 from this battle. So yeah, that's great. There is the heroic Fletchen, who is now surrendered and is just passively watching. But the two giants, well, the giant and the, well, it's more sort of David and Goliath, I suppose. We all know how that story ended, so come along now. Charge at them, men. I'm trying to get to the stern of the ship, because the stern of the ship will cause horrific damage to the actual ship, but also cause a morale decrease on their ship, so it will be a sort of a twofold attack. And, well, the battles last for 60 minutes in Napoleon Total War, and we currently only have 17 minutes 45 left, so... We'd been playing this match for almost 45 minutes at this point, and it had gotten down to a one-on-one fight. As in go the stern cannons from the Dragon. And I've caught the Dragon in a bad position, because the Dragon is facing directly into the wind, which means it can't turn very quickly, which means I can do that straight in to the rear of the ship and instantly take it down to a orange flag to make it shaken. And I basically halt sails here. I basically lower anchor. I'm basically like, stop, because I now have got a perfect shot into the stern of the Dragon. And so I'm stopping my ship so that I can just pour shots after shots after shots into the stern of the Dragon. And the Dragon, I think, is trying to turn towards me, but, well, yeah. It's a huge ship, and it's facing into the wind. As you can see, it's now trying to actually run away. However, the problem is that my cannons don't have the range to actually hit the Dragon now, so I'm having to chase after the Dragon. And we've basically got into a face-off. And also something to note, this is my Veterancy 3 ship, which is technically my worst ship, because I had 2 Max Vet Ironclads, 2 Veterancy 3, 2 Veterancy 4 80-gun steamships, and this Veterancy 3 one. So, as it's running away, I turn my ship again, hoping that my cannons are in range. Unfortunately, it appears not. So let's speed it up quick, because this is sort of the closing of the battle. And at this point, I'm just really hoping the battle will end, because we're down to our last, like, 15 minutes. And I'm now sailing towards the Dragon. Here we go. The Dragon is trying to turn. I'm turning myself to broadside. And I'm now in range. In goes another shot into the broadside. Taking down another 2 guns from the Dragon. It's shaken, concerned with hull damage. It's apparently firing on me, but... My 46-gun steamship is definitely the hero of Austria at this point. as we attack the dragon. And while the dragon is trying to escape, or at least turn, as I put another broadside into it, it's now down to a red flag, and it's now running away. We have actually just won that battle. As you can see, here's the statistics. He deployed 7 with 3 lost. I deployed 5 with 3 lost. Killed 1 enemy. He killed 0. I think kill means sunk, not just surrendered. As for unit the unit statistics, here's the Islamov, which is this ship, deployed with 220 men, lost 74 of them, and killed almost 300. The next closest ship, which is the Felchen, which was my second longest surviving combat ship, deployed with 220 men, lost 93, and killed 97. My 2 ironclads, which are here, the Gepard and the Grosian, did not do very well at all. 41 kills, 66 respectively, losing 61 and 64. The Medusa, which as we saw was running away off in that distance, lost 54 men, killed 41, deployed to 220. Amazingly, the Islamov did not gain any experience at all. So, yeah, fantastic. But I can't actually see my friend's results, but in essence, that was against the odds. Because we were down to a half-sunk ship and a brig versus 2 122 guns and 106 guns. Alright, yes, none of them were operating at peak performance, but 2 of them were at least on decent guns. They had barely lost any in retrospect, whereas I was down to a half-gunned ship and a brig, which was our force. But anyway, yeah, that was just an epic game, which I've been meaning to record, but I've been completely forgetting about it. But I finally have. So, yeah, that was Napoleon Total War against the odds as a ship battle. So I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.